My name is Will Sadler, and I have with me today, I brought my 2018 Ford Mustang GT, and it's parked here at the North Carolina Transportation Museum next to their 1965 convertible. First year of the Mustang was 1965. It was debuted in April of 1964 at the New York World's Fair. Originally, Ford predicted the Mustang to sell about 100,000 cars a year. But it quickly became the most successful vehicle launch since the 1927 Model A. Within the first year of Ford launching the Mustang, they sold 400,000 of the cars. In fact, they sold so well that the 1 millionth Mustang was sold within 2 years of the first launch. A lot of what drove Ford to develop this car was the generation of driver that was coming around. After World War II and the soldiers came home and the economic boom that the country saw in those years following, many new families were started. When those children from that era were beginning to drive, they decided they wanted something different than what their parents drove. Chevrolet had the Corvette. Ford knew they needed something sporty, something with a little pizzazz to it. When the Mustang was rolled out in 1965, within a couple of years, most of the major competitors also introduced a comparable styled car. Rear-wheel drive, horsepower car with a lot of style to it to attract the younger generation. For example, from that, you had the Chevrolet Camaro and the Pontiac Firebird in 1967, the AMC Javelin in 1968, and the Dodge Challenger rolled out in 1970. Also, the Plymouth Barracuda had debuted just a few months before Ford introduced the Mustang. This gave way to what a lot of people refer to as the pony car wars or the sports car wars. Because of the affordability of these cars and the easy ways that a person could take them and hot rod them to increase power, make them go faster, make them louder, and really make them unique, it wasn't long before these cars found themselves in drag racing, stock car racing, circuit, and especially road course racing. The Mustangs were really fortified in road racing with the help of Carroll Shelby and his team. Carroll Shelby had already established a relationship with Ford through building his Shelby AC Cobras, which used Ford engines and transmissions in those cars. When the Mustang came out, and after someone supposedly referred to the first one as a secretary's car, Ford knew they wanted to hot rod it. So they came out with a fastback body style, a sleeker, sportier looking version that appealed more to the younger crowd that wanted to go fast. It was these fastbacks that Carroll Shelby and his team took, modified into what came to be known as GT350s, and then entered into the race circuit. Of the 6 divisions in SCCA racing, those cars won 5 of those in their first year of competition. The current Mustang that you see here, the 2018, is what's known as a S550. It is the 6th generation, meaning the 6th chassis design used in Mustang production. What's interesting about the Mustang, it has been in continuous production since late 1964, starting with the 65 model, and it's currently the longest produced Ford car under one nameplate. The first generation would probably be deemed the most successful simply because that's what introduced the world to Mustang. This basic design lasted through 1973, although the car overall got a little bit bigger in its dimension. With the oil embargoes and some of the gas challenges of the mid-70s, they developed what's known as the Mustang II. It was a much smaller chassis designed off a Pinto frame, very similar in size, and these days is not nearly as collectible as other generations. This was from 1974 until 1978. The third generation is a chassis known as the Fox body or the Fox chassis. This is the longest running chassis in the Mustang history in terms of the different chassis that they used, and probably the most common in sheer numbers. These ran from 1979 until 1993. The fourth generation is known as the SN95. These model numbers run from 1995 with a slight change starting in 99 up through 2004. In 2005, the Mustang enthusiast finally got what they wanted, which was a Mustang designed from the ground up as a Mustang. All the previous generations and models had shared a lot of components and a lot of chassis design with other models and other makes of vehicles out there. In 2005, when they rolled out the SN 197, this was the first one that was designed from the ground up, and it showed in the performance. The cars handled better, the engines made more power than they ever had, and the interest in the Mustang regained enthusiasm. In 2015, the chassis were designed again, and the latest iteration of the Mustang that still is sold today is called the S550, similar to the 2018 Mustang here. The Ford Mustang also has made its appearance in numerous movies through the years. In James Bond Diamonds Are Forever, there was one in there as a character car. A recent movie, Need for Speed, contained one of the new Shelby Mustangs that came out a couple of years ago. And probably the two most popular movies based around a Mustang are Gone in 60 Seconds with the legendary Eleanor, a movie that has been made twice now, once the originals back in the late 60s, early 70s, and then one a few years ago with Nicolas Cage. And by far the most popular is probably the Steve McQueen movie Bullet, in which he was a detective and drove a dark green 67 Mustang. This actual car recently went up for auction and sold at a record $3.4 million, which was a new record for auctioned off Mustangs. Even in music, the Mustang makes an appearance. The song Mustang Sally, which was recorded by Wilson Pickett back in 1966, is about a man who buys a Mustang for his ungrateful girlfriend. It's been described by one cultural historian as a free advertisement for Ford Motor Company. Probably the thing that appeals to me the most about the Mustang is it's such a wide range of people that like them. You have the enthusiast that collects the numbers matching one of 20 1967 Shelby convertible in yellow. You have the kid that's 16 that wants his parents to get him a Mustang for his first car. In my personal experience, you have the generational memories that go with it. My father had a Mustang. I've had a couple of Mustangs. My oldest son has a Mustang. And both of my sons, we share a seat in a Mustang road race car that we like to go out and have fun in. Mustangs are very unique because there's such a wide range of what you can do to them to truly make them your own. They have the standard 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder turbo models available if someone just wants that nameplate to be able to say, hey, I drive a Mustang. For the performance person, they want the 5-liter with the new Coyote engine. They can buy that and they can upgrade it. They can change things up. They can change body panels and add different badges on it and really make it their own.
Continue to learn at home with other great videos from the North Carolina Transportation Museum on Facebook, YouTube, and nctrans.org. The North Carolina Transportation Museum in Spencer is the museum that moves you.